I bet you didn't know about this one serial killer, despite him killing at least 38 people. I'm talking about Moses Sithole. He was a South African serial killer. He committed the ABC murders. His murdering spree happened between July 16, 1994 to November 6, 1995. He was born in Vosloorus. When he was 5 years old, his father passed, and his mother abandoned him and his siblings. They spent the next 3 years in an orphanage where they were severely abused. When he was a teen, he was arrested for sexual assault and imprisoned for 7 years, which he blames as the reason why he became a murderer. He said all the women he murdered reminded him of women who had falsely accused him of sexual assault in the past. Everyone said Moses seemed like a very mild-mannered man. At the time of the murders, he was managing a shell organization called Youth Against Human Abuse. It was an organization to eradicate child abuse. He targeted black women aged 19 through 45. He would capture his victims as they interviewed to be part of his charity organization. He would take them to a remote field where he then beat them, sexually assaulted them, and then strangled them with their own underwear. One woman had her young son with her. He was only 2 years old. Moses inflicted a brutal head wound to him and left him for dead. Sorry y'all, this picture was too brutal where I had to censor it for TikTok. He would then call the family members of his victims just to taunt them. In 1995, Moses contacted a journalist. He knew he was a wanted man. They were trying to figure out who was committing all these murders. He explained how his killings were revenge to those who had caused him to have false imprisonment, and he claimed he had 76 victims. He then gave directions to where one of the bodies would be found. They were able to locate Moses, and he attempted to attack authorities. He was shot in the process, but he was taken to the hospital and survived. He was sentenced to 2,410 years in prison, way beyond a life sentence. They said he would have to serve 930 years before he'd be eligible for parole. The judge told him he wished that capital punishment was still used because he wanted to sentence him to death. And to this day, he still sits in prison, known as one of the biggest serial killers South Africa has ever seen.